Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Digital 10 mini class. Digital Ben here once again with you talking Adobe Audition, part 2 of this Audition series where we are going to be going over all of the basics of how to use this program. In today's session, we will be talking all about basic edits. So like cutting and pasting, moving things around your audio file, and then making some basic effects. Edits to your piece of audio there, like raising and lowering the volume more extensively than just the standard amplification that you can do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so here we are in Adobe Audition. We have got our new audio file set up here. I didn't name it anything. You can just leave it as Untitled 1 if you want. Just make sure that if you have a lot of untitled tracks going, that you're aware of which one's which. And when you've got a lot of files that you're working with, naming them individually can help you keep track of what everything is, right? So I'm going to go ahead and record a piece of audio here so that we can use that throughout the rest of this section of the program here. And let's go ahead and get started with it. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to be varying the audio or the volume of my voice so that we can edit things manually to be able to make it more smooth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 7, 8, 9. What comes after 9? Oh yeah, 10. All right. All right, so we've got our audio here. So we've got like a variety of volumes here. So we're gonna have to move things around to be able to get that situated. I got a little out of track there, so I think it was 6 came before 5, so we got to move that around. And then we've got a couple extra things that we need to cut out to be able to make it so that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alrighty, so firstly, let's go ahead and cut out the beginning and end of everything. That's where I like to typically start. So this area that is just blank, nothing, there's no like actual audio that we're planning on doing anything with other than general background noise, right? So we can go ahead and delete that. And then we've got my 1 here, 2, 3 is this small one, 4, 5 is, or well, I guess this is 6, right? Is that what that said? 5. Yeah. So that's how that goes. All right. So we are gonna jump ahead here to after I say 10. Oh yeah. 10. Okay, so there's 10. So now I can highlight and then hit the delete button to be able to get rid of everything else. So first, let's go ahead and figure out where the 6 and 5 are here. So I'm just going to play it from the beginning to be able to figure that out. 2, 4, 5. All right, so right here is where it says 6. And one thing that makes things easier when it comes to moving around the your audio file here is to set up some markers so that you can identify exactly where something exists on the timeline. A couple of different ways that you can put a marker on here. You can either right click and then come down to marker, and then you can add a cue marker there. Or you can just hit the M button on your keyboard, and that will line up a marker right there. Markers are just, like I mentioned, great for being able to identify stuff so that no matter where I am on here, I know that 6 is right here where marker 1 is. Okay, so those are markers. Now we just need to get our numbers in the appropriate order here. Okay. 4. All right, so we've got, let's zoom in way more so that we can see where the word 6 starts here. 4. There we go. Looks like there is where that starts. I'm going to move that marker back, and then I'm going to drag. All right, so that I have highlighted the whole word 6, okay? So I'm going to cut this piece out, and then I'm going to paste it into another part of the file here, okay? So the way that I'm going to do that is I could either right click and hit cut, or on I could hit Control X on my keyboard. Okay. 4, 5. All right, so now after 5, I've got to figure out exactly where 7 starts so that I can I can paste the 6 there. Okay. 5. Hit another marker there. Okay. So right here where I placed that marker is, it looks like, where the 5 ends and the 7 begins. So let's go ahead and paste our 6 there and see how that sounds. 5, 8. Okay, so we have got our numbers in the appropriate order, and now we're going to need to cut out everything that comes after 9 before where we say 10. So we've got 9, and then we have got everything that is in there because I say what comes after 9, and then right there, yeah, there we go. 10. All right, there we go. So let's listen. I mean, this is a little ridiculous sounding, but let's go ahead and listen to the whole thing. 2, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. All right, there we go. So we've got everything here, but the volume is all over the place on this. So we are going to need to fix that, right? So to be able to fix the volume individually, there's a number of different things that I could do. I could highlight everything here, or just one part of it, not everything, just one part of it. And then I could go to adjust amplitude here, and I could adjust it manually that way, or I could use some effects. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take a look at the low volume stuff that we have here. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can see. So the way that we can zoom in on our decibels over here on the right hand side, if you just scroll up or down on the mouse wheel, you can see the exact number of where your volume is here. Okay. So it looks like our low points, like when I was speaking quietly, is right around the 33 mark, negative 33 mark there. Okay. So what I can do to be able to get everything to match, I am going to highlight everything. I'm going to come up here to effects. I'm going to go down to amplitude and compression. Amplitude, of course, making things louder, compression, making things quieter. And there's a number of different options that we have here. One of the options that I like is called hard limiter. This is something that I use fairly regularly when editing videos here for the library. But I usually don't like to adjust the maximum amplitude below negative 12. Because then we're going to be getting into a place where our background noise will be quite a bit louder. But for the sake of example, we're going to break my individual rule that I have for myself here, and we are going to drop this to negative 30. Okay, that's a little bit higher than where our normal is, but it'll allow for some more variability. Okay. So when I hit apply on this, you'll notice that everything else got shrunk down to the size of where my quiet voice was, okay? And the way that hard limiter works is it basically just chops off the top of the audio. Picture, for example, a Christmas tree, right? Maybe you went to the place where you pick up live Christmas trees and you bought a 15-foot Christmas tree, not thinking that your living room's ceiling is only 10 feet high. Well, you're going to have to lop off the top 5 feet or bottom 5 feet, you know, or whatever, to be able to shrink it down to be able to get to a place where you can actually, you know, manage that into your home, right? Well, hard limiting works exactly the same. It literally just lops off the top and bottom of the audio there to be able to make it so that the middle chunk of that audio is exactly where you set that limit. Okay. All right, so now that we have set our hard limit, let's go on and make this audio a more manageable sound or a volume, right? So another tool that I use regularly under effects, amplitude, and compression, I come down to normalize. Now, what does normalize do? Well, that allows for us to set a normal range of where our maximum is going to be, okay? Now it's setting our maximum, but it is impacting the entire project. Okay, so the reason why we limit it first is to make it so that all of our audio file is roughly the same volume, because naturally, you know, the way that I'm speaking, I'm getting louder and quieter based on the way that I'm speaking. But if we want for everything to be a relatively consistent volume, if you use the hard limiter first, then normalize it. It'll make everything ultimately a more similar volume. Now let's hear how that sounds all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, is it perfect? Not even a little bit, but it does get the point across that we were trying to organize our numbers in order, and we were trying to make everything a fairly consistent volume, and we did that. So the normalize function I used, I set that limit to -6. We talked about that in the first part, that -6 is kind of the sweet spot. Because let me mute here so that I can increase the amplitude once again to reiterate this example. If we look down here, -6 is exactly where that red or the yellow ends and the red starts. The yellow is the sweet spot. So anything between -18 and -6 is you're getting your premium grade audio quality. And anything above -6 and below 0 is still premium grade quality, but it's letting you know, oh my goodness, we're getting close to a place where the audio is getting really bad. And then getting above 0 is where it damages the audio quality to a place where it does not sound the way that you would want it anymore, right? All right, so there we go. So we have got our audio to -6. So now that we have got our, we have normalized everything, we have limited everything, let's go ahead and make this sound a little bit different. So let's highlight everything and come back into our effects panel here, into amplitude and compression. And the toughest thing that we're going to be looking at today is called dynamics processing. This, if you're familiar with Photoshop, you might be familiar with a curve like this. This is something that will adjust the highs and lows of our voice. So we can come in here and we can adjust that. It works similarly to this line, like the bar graph line on Photoshop that would adjust the brights and the darks of a picture that you're working with, but of course highs and lows of voice. So you can either use the default and just adjust it manually yourself, and you can come in here and you can, you know, manually do that, or of course you can use some of the things that are pre-installed onto Adobe Audition, and you can take a look around the different options that we have here. Okay, so there are a number of different options here. Let's click this voiceover option and see how that sounds. Let's go ahead and hit apply on that and then listen back to that. Oh, let me turn my volume back on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, cool. So that is the voiceover. Now let's go in here, use the dynamics processing again, and let's see what one of the other ones sounds like. Let's click on this one that says classic soft knee. So as you can see here under voiceover, it brings up the lows here up to a minimum of, it looks like -57.5, and it brings the highs down to a place where it is -9. Okay. So if we use the classic soft knee there. It leaves the lows where they are, and it brings the highs down in a way that kind of curves the voice a little bit there. So let's see how that sounds a little different. As you notice, the audio wave, like the height of everything individually changes there. So let's see how that sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that sounds a little different than the voiceover function did. So let's go ahead and hit undo again. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back in here and let's do something manually. Let's see what happens if we make it a straight line so that it is -6 all the way across the board, right? So that is the maximum of the sweet spot volume, right? And so let's go ahead and draw that straight line there, and that will make everything roughly a straight line all the way across the top there. And let's see how that sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it brings up the background noise even more, so you can hear that quite a bit louder. And it just edits the voice sound a little bit more than the voiceover one did, and the classic soft knee that we used previously. So I encourage you to to explore this on your own. If you don't have Adobe Audition, just come on into the Digital Den and explore that further. There are, like I said, quite a few more options here of variety there. So check all those out. And see how they impact your voice. Okay. And that is going to do it for this week's session of Adobe Audition, or the Intro to the Basics there, part 2. We will be back again for a part 3, where we will be going over some of the more complex effects that are there, including adjusting the pitch of your voice, and maybe we'll do some reverb and a couple other options there as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this and you'll come back for the next one, and we will see you around for another Digital Den mini class. Thanks for watching. Bye.